Welcome in, everybody, to this episode of After Hours. We just wrapped up episode 10 of Girl, How'd You Get That Gig with Alison, Alison Vigil, who is a senior sports producer covering mainly the Colorado Rockies. She also does basketball and football, and I thought she was amazing as we're welcoming in our team here. We've got Adrienne Colasingham, we have Miranda Ronan, and of course, my partner, Celeste Gehring. So, Celeste, let's just have you kick it off. Something that really impacted you about that interview.
I loved how Allison was talking about her career trajectory. And basically, she went from being an associate producer to a senior producer. But she started at the beginning with graphics and editing. And she really gave that advice, Amy, of, hey, try any job, go into any job that's going to help you become a better producer, right? She was specifically talking about producing. And as you and I know, Amy, from like editing, you get a better eye for producing, you do better, it helps the talent, right? Like it's
Camera.
all yeah, all interchangeable. And I really loved what she said too about being kind, right?
Mhm.
This is such a small industry. You're going to run into people over and over again. To me, it always feels like roadies, right? When
It
you're
is, it's
traveling,
Groundhog Day. Yeah.
right? And in sports, and you will meet everybody you work with. It is a small industry in sports. Everybody talks. So be kind.
It's so true. Your reputation in sports precedes you, and you are only worth what people have heard about you and how you were to work with. And I always tell young men and women coming up in the industry, like if you're out on a shoot with us and you jump in to do a stand up for your reel, you're trying to build your reel, offer to wrap cable, offer to carry the lights, pick stuff up. What can I do? How can I help? Can you? And then everyone is more willing to teach you as you go if you're accommodating and you're helpful. I have never, ever at this point in my career as well walked away from a shoot and not said, how can I help you guys and gals? It used to just be guys. Now it's gals too. So I think that's really, really true. And then I'm so on the same page with you about, I always kind of phrase it, just say yes. When you're young, trying to break in and you think, okay, I want to be on camera. I want to be an on-camera talent. Well, say yes to the job producing the morning show at 2:30 in the morning and get a vibe for what all goes into getting to be on camera. And I tell my students like Miranda all the time, for every no you get, so you take that job producing at 2 a.m. and you hate it, or you're editing or what, and it's not your gig, you've now gotten closer to what your gig is. Finding no's in your career is just as valuable as finding yeses to me. So I loved that too. Miss Miranda.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going off of like finding what you want to do, I think a big part of that is also finding the type of people that you want to work with. And she just really touched a lot about the importance of having like women in her corner, within her job environment in Colorado. But I think that's just super important too. Like a big thing we preach on the podcast is like making room and like helping people. Like that's the whole point, right? Is how did you get to that point, not like gatekeeping it. And I just really enjoyed that idea of like if you're kind to others, if you are like, hey, how can I help you? Let me support you through this, the same will be extended towards you. And I just think that's like invaluable advice, just and like something to keep in mind is like the importance of like we're all women, we're all trying to like have a voice and be heard. So like let's support each other in that and not make it necessarily a competition.
It's like, the forever lesson that we're learning, right? And Colorado, where she's at, they walk the walk and talk the talk. I mean, it's her and a female director and a female play-by-play analyst, and that hasn't happened anywhere else in Major League Baseball. So they really are putting it into action about women supporting women. AK, what do you got?
Well, I liked when she said when she first started out, she was always in the room trying to kind of keep up with the men or, how can I be as good as them, whatever. And then it took her a while to realize it wasn't, she didn't have to keep up with them. She could bring her own perspective, her own individual, ideas and everything to it. And she added worth to it on her own from being a
Mm.
woman and a mother and everything else that it was worth more than just trying to keep up with the men in the room. And I thought that was really good part of, I think, what all women are going through in all careers, but especially in sports.
Well, embracing what makes us unique as women is is so much of what she learned, you know.
Yeah.
And we aren't taught that, to exploit being different and exploit that we think differently or see a situation differently. And I think that's changing, and it's women like her that vocalizing that on the podcast, kind of making the next woman who thought that say, oh, okay, well then that's okay that I see it differently and I have a different approach to something. I think it's super valuable. I love that too. The one thing I'll add in, and I'm going to hop on the motherhood train here with Adrienne, because we're both moms, and Allison has 3 kids, and so does Adrienne. So you really probably it resonated what she was saying. I have 2, but the fact that early on in her career as a young mother, it was almost taboo to say you had kids, because it was assumed you wouldn't be available for work, or that you wouldn't want to travel, or, well, she's a mom, so she can't. And that she had to get to a point where that got nixed. If I'm the best person for the job, then you better offer me the job. I will figure out my family situation. They are going to be fine. I have figured out balance between being a mom and having a career, which so many of us have worked so hard at doing. So give us the opportunity. But we're still in a place where we have to vocalize that. Like, don't count me out because I'm a mom. Like, in
Yeah.
my situation, there's a dad too. So we got this. So I really appreciated that struggle and that plight of being seen for her work in that environment, and not that she was a mother who worked, because she's both. So I thought it was an excellent interview.
Really.
You guys did good. Good after hours. Thanks for chatting. Let's go have a cocktail.
Let's go.
Yay.
Love for my, keep it straight like a concrete.